friends. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here. I'm a little late because things were happening at my house. And if you are a parent, you probably know what I mean. So I am in a number of Facebook groups for voice teachers and coaches. Facebook, of course, being our platform of choice for groups. And I see a similar post with alarming frequency. What I see is a voice teacher struggling. And they want to appease their students. They want to create goals. They want to invite outside feedback. And so they have entered their clients, their students in some kind of a contest or an audition, right? And then once they are in the contest, once the client or the student is in the contest, the voice teacher or coach is no longer in control, right? Now they have surrendered their control to the adjudicators. And so the posts that I see are about how to deal with this fallout from that, because there is so often, I almost want to say inevitably, but I won't. I'll say so often there is fallout from that. And the comments, the students have received this is what the teachers say. Again, this is what I see in the groups that I'm in. The comments that the teachers see that their clients have received may have been unfair. They may have been ill-informed. They may have lacked context, or they may have even been not. The student might have internalized as being disruptive or traumatizing. So we're going to unpack all that today, because none of us want that for our clients. None of us. We need goals, we need performance opportunities, and we need feedback for our students. And we are intimately aware of their journeys. We know, unlike the adjudicators or the contest judges or whatever, we are aware of the whole human package. We know that what they are learning about their singing, and also what they're learning about life, about music, about their voices, about themselves as people. We know all that. And so today I'd like to talk about these contests and auditions, and I would like to suggest what's appropriate maybe for different genres, as well as to throw out some ideas to get your genius mind cogitating, ruminating on things that you might be able to offer to your clients and students. So stay with me. Did I have that? No, that's what I wanted to have up there. Like I said, there's stuff going on in my house today. It's a small miracle that I am even here, and a larger miracle that I'm wearing makeup. And I am, so having said that, let me introduce myself. I'm Meredith Colby. I am the author of Money Notes, How to Sing High, Loud, Healthy, and Forever, which introduces neurovocal for popular styles. It's a way to approach learning to sing for popular styles that's genre appropriate and that's based on brain science. So I train voice teachers and coaches. I'm running 2 classes right now, actually, of voice professionals learning to teach via brain science. And I also see clients one-on-one. I see voice teachers, I see voice pros, and I see aspiring avocational singers, people who have goals, adults. So that's who I work with. Those are my ideal clients, and I really do love my job an awful lot. So if you want information about that, you can go to, is it this side? Yep, nope, this side, neurovocal.com and get more information about working one-on-one with me. My freebie today is, now you might already have this. If you don't, however, you're going to want it. This is an opportunity to get my ebook, Making Them Stick, an independent voice teacher's guide to attracting and keeping singers of popular styles. So people love this book. There are things in this little ebook that you are not going to find anywhere else in the printed universe. So I'm going to suggest that if you would like this, if you're watching on Facebook, put neurovocal in the comments below. If you are watching on YouTube, the link to get that is in the comments, in the description below. Okay, so just take a look at that. Go on over and get your free ebook. So if you are appreciating my content, I would love it if you would like it, share it, hashtag that. Please, that is the currency of social media. So it really helps me a lot when you give me a thumbs up, you give me a heart, you write a little comment, all of that. I really appreciate it and I love it. So thank you so much. So now let us talk about the overarching values of classical music and theater, music theater versus popular styles. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit. So performing opportunities, that's why we do it, right? That's why we enter our people in contests. That's why we allow them to go to these mock auditions, is because we want to provide opportunities for them to perform, because we know from our own experience that what we learn in the studio is very, very different than what the kind of learning we do when we are standing there in front of a bunch of eyeballs. It's very, your brain does very different work. And when we have to engage our brains in that way and our singing in that way, it tends to kind of help us move forward in our skill set. So we know that it's very valuable. And also, singing is a performance art, so performing makes sense. So we know that it's valuable and we want to provide these opportunities for our people. It's really nice when somebody else has set it up for us, right? We've all put recitals together, and recitals are a lot of work. So if somebody else has set up a thing that we can just fill out a form and get our students over there, wow, that's great. Nice for us, nice for them. Everybody wins except bum, 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 when they don't. So there are three things going forward as you consider this, rather than just having feelings about it and saying, should I or shouldn't I, or I'm absolutely not going to, or whatever, or I should because it's really good for them and I'm a member of NATS and I should blah, blah, all that stuff that you do. I want you to try to think about these categories, okay? We're going to kind of break this down into, we're going to break this down into three things that I think you should think about when you are considering doing this. And then we are going to talk about some alternatives if you do not want to do that, okay? Now, the first thing I want you to think about is the demands of the genre. I do not have things for this. Demands of the genre, employment status, and your studio values. So those are the three things I want you to start thinking about as you think about these contests and auditions, okay? And then again, I'm going to offer you some ideas in case you do not want to participate in contests. Okay, so, I'm looking for my slides. All right, the first thing, demands of the genre. Now, if you've watched any of my content, you know that I say this fairly frequently, but I kind of feel like I can't say it enough. And that is that music theater and classical music are composer driven. They are, when a singer is on stage performing in these genres, or I mean, not just, I said classical, right? I didn't say opera, right? So all classical. They are in service to the composer. And the mindset that goes along with that is very different than popular music, because the popular singer of popular styles, the PM singer, is in service to the art themselves, their ego, their id, their whatever, what they are trying to get across. They are the artist. They are not interpreting the art as much as the stage singer or the classical singer. So the demands of the genre are very different. The thing that happens with those composer-driven genres is that there are external rubrics that the singer needs, particularly in the classical realm. There are certain things that define the genre. And so you have to meet those definitions in order to say, yes, I am singing an oratorio. There's a thing that goes with that. And so that's crucial that the person knows that and that they are able to adhere to those rubrics and those frameworks. In popular styles, no, that's not a thing. That is not a thing. In popular styles, the idea, so the culture, the values, and this doesn't always play out in real life, obviously, but the culture and the values say, I am going to show you my heart and soul. I am going to interpret this music. It's either music I've written myself, in which case you get a double whammy, or it is music that I am interpreting as an artist, my own self. And so when I come to you as a popular singer, it's very important that I am transparent, that I'm emotionally available, that I am present to what is happening, right? And then music theater is sort of kind of both, right? Because there are certain things, more and more these days, especially with the programs in colleges, more and more the rubrics are getting a little less flexible for music theater singers. So music theater meets popular styles in that, yes, you are still in service to the composer, but also they want to see sort of your version of it, as long as it's not too much your version. Just very squishy. Whole different discussion. Rebecca Piat is here. Okay. She says service to the composer versus service to the artist. Succinctly said. You just said in one sentence what it just took me 5 minutes to say. Thank you, Rebecca. Okay. The second thing I want you to think about is employment status. Here's something we don't talk about very much in the arts, but I think it's worth saying. When we are going to be an employee, so to speak, so when we are talking about music theater, or we are talking about almost all classical productions, they are productions. There's a producer. Or if we're going to go into another kind of state, like we want to be a cruise ship singer, for instance, okay? So like any kind of a staged thing, then you are talking about a person who is operating as an employee, okay? Actually, Rebecca is a freelancer, but also she does dueling pianos. So when she works as a dueling pianist, she tends to work as a contract employee. So there are a little bit of a stricter, like, here's what we expect from you. And there are pros and cons of being an employee. On the one hand, the money's coming in, you're pretty clear on the expectations, and when you have to be there and what the contract says. And those are great things. On the other hand, you have to adhere to their limitations. So there are certain things that you can and cannot do as an employee. Fair enough, right? As a self-employed person, so this is Rebecca in her other life. She's a self-employed person because she is a singing pianist. And so when you are a self-employed person, you're a gigging musician, you're going sort of from one gig to the next, you have a lot more leeway, a lot more freedom to say, hey, this is the product. It's me. And so if you like what I do, great, hire me. If you don't, too bad, hire somebody else, because this is it. Like I as a self-employed gigging musician, I don't have to change what I'm offering in order to make you happy. As opposed to as an employee, right? As a sort of a long-term, if I'm working on a cruise ship and you say to me, I need you to develop this skill in order to fit in with the other 12 people you're sharing on stage, I probably got to work on that, right? So I can't say, well, I'm sorry, you hired me as I was. So, which I can do if I'm self-employed, if I'm a gigging musician. So those are two different kinds of mindsets that I also want you to be aware of when we're talking about contests and auditions, okay? The audition, so when Nat says we're going to have auditions, they are very much speaking to the employee mentality. And they are very much speaking to the composer-driven art form. Because those are the things that require those sort of rubrics and frameworks. That's required. If you are outside of those two things, if you are talking about self-employment or you are talking about an artist-driven genre, then you should not be in those contests because literally they don't apply. They don't apply and they are potentially damaging. Okay, I just went off of my track. Okay, now I'm going to get back on my track. Your studio values. So this is the third thing that I want you to consider. So one is, what is the genre? Two is your person leaning toward your client? Are they leaning toward a self-employment status? Are they a singer-songwriter? Are they a singing piano player? Are they in an a cappella group, right? Or are they looking for long-term employment where they need to meet a rubric or a framework? Those are two different mindsets. And then the third thing is, what are your studio values? What are they? If you are saying, okay, this week, Jocelyn Rumpf Dennis, voice pro from Vancouver, put up this beautiful little Instagram post that said, here's my studio values. And her studio values were very much around, I mean, excuse me, Jocelyn, for sort of bunching it up, but basically they were saying, we're going to nurture you in your journey. We're going to support you as an artist as you sort of uncover your voice. And so it was about feeling safe and about being able to take risks. So she was very clear. These are the values of her studio, right? Now, conversely, there's a voice pro named Julie Miles who is in Yorkshire in England. And she is very clear about competition. So she's going to attract the person who loves competition, because there are people like that. There are people who love to get in there and compete. And Julie is all about, like, I am going to show you how to compete. I'm going to tell you what the judges are looking for. I'm going to show you how to meet those ideals and those notions, and we're going to get in there and compete. So somebody who's like, I want to get in there and win contests, is going to go to somebody like Julie, because Julie's very clear in her messaging. She's saying, this is the person I work best with. And Jocelyn is just saying, this is the person I work best with, because this is in keeping with my values. So these are different, okay? I'm not saying you need to pick one or the other, but I am needing to say that if you say to your people, I'm going to provide a nurturing environment, then maybe those contests and auditions are not in keeping with your values. That's what I'm saying. So, deliver on your promise, I guess, is what I'm saying. Now, if you are trying to move away from competitions, I am going to suggest that you replace them with showcases. Now, if you are rolling your eyes right now, because you're like, I don't want to do all that work, I'm going to make a couple suggestions. Okay, there are ways to do it that is not quite so much work. And I don't know, some people kind of like the work. So I'm just going to go through them all. So a few weeks ago, I was talking about alternatives to recitals. And voice pro Rachel Michaelberg, who's in California, she said to me, I like doing audition. I like doing recitals. I don't know why everybody's so against recitals. My recitals are really fun. I'm like, you're right. Recitals really work for some studios. Rachel has access to this beautiful performance space that's not a big deal. She has an accompanist that she loves working with. Her clients, she serves food. She just makes it a real warm, fuzzy experience. So right on. Do it. That's a great recital. Absolutely. It gives your students a goal and a way to share what they've accomplished. So important. They get to clap for each other, get to know each other. It's a great thing. So regular old recitals are fantastic showcases. Now, you could have a different kind of a showcase. For instance, I'm going to give you a few ideas of a different kind of showcase. One might be like a video party. Did anybody create video watch parties during the pandemic? I did. When we said, okay, clients, you're going to do a video. Actually, I did this before the pandemic. I'm not to say that I was ahead of the curve or anything, but I was ahead of the curve. One week, I had people schedule times to come in. I set up a little video, studio for them. I had their accompaniment ready, and we did videos of their songs in my little video studio. And then I put it together in a sort of a video watch party thing, and I gave everybody a link when they could watch together. Of course, people who couldn't got to watch later, but it was fun because we all came together and we could comment during the video watch party. And I was able to do that because so many of my clients are adults. So everybody getting together at the same place at the same time was probably not going to happen. So creating these videos when they could come in worked really well for my studio. And then we had the watch party. It was super fun. And then other people did that during the pandemic, different versions of the watch parties. I think those are great ways to showcase, and people feel more, I don't know, confident, or they're more willing to share their positive feedback when they do that. They'll type in there, wow, good for you, and it's really helpful. It's nice for people to be able to see that and kind of bring it into their hearts so that they have a little more confidence next time they get out in front of people. Now, performance parties is another idea. I was going to have little things up for this, but like I said, my morning. So performance parties, this is another idea. This is a thing, another version of a showcase. What can I say? I just called them performance parties, but when I used to teach in the downtown Chicago, I would have these twice a year. I would use a bar, and I'm just going to say bars are fun. And Rebecca, if you're still watching, I want to get an amen on this, because bars have a couple of dark nights, Sunday nights, Monday nights, usually very dark, sometimes Tuesday, where they don't get a lot of action happening. People don't come in. And so if you go to a bar that you like and you say, hey, bar, hopefully bar that serves food, I will bring, thank you. Thank you, Rita. Rita will give me an amen on that. You say, hey, bar owner, I can guarantee you that you're going to have 40 people in here on a Monday night who are all drinking and eating, and all you have to do is let me use the room and the stage. And that happened. I did that twice a year for years, and it worked. It was great. They win. Student has a really fun experience in an actual venue, and I don't have to pay a rental fee. Worked out great. You could also do rental fees. One of the people in my current neurovocal class was just sharing that she had actually rented a stage space, and with ticket sales and some other stuff that she was selling. I can't remember what it was, but she broke even. She was fine. She didn't take a hit on it at all. Did she make money? I don't know if she made money, so I'm not going to say. Brilliant Eden Castile, those of you who know Eden Castile, she has this great idea that I love this. This would be my lane if I had thought of it, but I didn't have Eden in my life, so I didn't. But potluck parties. So she will have just a few people, 3 or 4 of her clients who are singing a similar genre, or who have similar goals, or are in a similar developmental stage as artists. So she kind of bunches them together, and then at somebody's house, whoever ever has the best house or apartment, she has a party, just a party. And you bring food, each person, their people bring food, and you invite 3 or 4 people, and you hang out. So then you have like a crowd of, and then you sing your songs, and it's very chill, but people are quiet and they're listening to you and they're applauding for you, and you're getting that experience of, we got to perform in front of people, but it's not quite so scary. And it's a showcase. It's not a contest. And that's huge. Now, that being said, now I'm going to move to another thing, which is you can work with other teachers. So you might put on a showcase together with another teacher in your area. If you're like a member of the Speakeasy Cooperative, you might have other speakeasy people who are nearby you in your city. You can share. Shannon Coates, I was talking to Shannon Coates about this, and she said that Nats Ontario has changed from contests, or what they call auditions, right, to just showcases. So for their category of popular styles, they just call them a showcase. Nats, their Nats chapter's doing that. So yay Shannon, yay Toronto Nats. My friend Sherry Jones has a multi-teacher studio in Omaha, Nebraska, and they are shifting next year from what they have historically called contests, because they were informed by Nats, I think they call them contests. Yeah. They were informed by the Nats auditions, and so they were calling them contests. But next year, she's going to do basically the same thing, except it's not going to be a contest. It's going to be a showcase. So they're just changing the name. So then the names are a big deal. What we call things are a big deal. So working with other teachers is a great thing. And then there are local opportunities. You know, there are showcases locally for people that they can sign up for, and they might get feedback. I've been a judge on a panel for a Battle of the Bands, which is basically a showcase, where, you know, the judges are all there in good faith, and they're all there to encourage the young musicians. And so we tell them all the things we see that are strong, and then we will offer maybe one or two opinions based on our experience as performing musicians. So those kind of local opportunities exist as well. So I hope I've given you some ideas today. If you've seen any of my content before, you know I'm all about context. Context is everything. So when we support our clients on their voice journeys, we need to keep context in mind, and so that we can best serve our clients and be in keeping with our own values. So I hope this was helpful today. If I can be of any service going forward, please feel free to comment or just shoot me a DM at any time. And you can also find what you need on, I can't find it, whatever, my website, 𝕝𝔄𝑣𝑜cal.com. Have a great week. Bye.